it for selfish reasons, or you may do it for philanthropic reasons. You are helping others when you raise food. You are helping others when you teach. You're helping others when you counsel in therapy and so on.
How might the school system enhance the development of philanthropic behavior?
Well, this is, again, a practical problem that needs to be tackled as such. I would simply suggest relevant principles, find out under what conditions people do indeed take the goods of others into account, and how do they reinforce them. Now, we've had historical examples of that, of course. A strong state can induce its members to be patriotic and to fight for the state, which is a way of working for the good of others. A religion can suggest martyrdom, the sacrifice of the individual for the good of the religion or the good of the people who practice that religion. These are techniques. You may criticize some of them. You may say it's pretty rough on the person who got controlled that way. He died for others, but what did he get out of it? That's a question very often. But I think that you could, without too much difficulty in a given culture, arrange contingencies under which the culture makes sure that those who do things for the good of others are themselves reinforced. Don't appeal to their compassion or their generosity or anything of that kind. Those are feelings and they're not going to help you. Appeal instead to the contingencies under which behavior of helping others is actually reinforced.
Let's take the practical issue again of developing philanthropic behavior. You mentioned earlier that some of the other philosophies of education are really preventing, in their technology, the development of desired kinds of behavior. The humanistic system clearly values philanthropic behavior. You value philanthropic behavior, but you're saying something else. The technology you're describing is far more powerful in developing philanthropic behavior than is the humanistic educational system. Why is that? Why is that? What should they be doing differently?
Well, I think they're doing what I suggested. They are looking for help to the inner man, his feelings, his compassion, and so on. I've pointed out elsewhere that there are some great classical examples of mistreatment. The care of children in orphanages, the care of old people in homes for old people, prisons, the care of psychotics, and the care of retardates. These are systems which from the beginning of time have always deteriorated, so that conditions are perfectly awful. And then some kind of reform sweeps in, but before you know it, it's back again. You say, oh, well, that's because we need compassionate people, we need humane people who will love children and take good care of them, will be fond of old people and take good care of them, who will have the interests of the prisoner at heart and whatnot. You know that you've heard this sort of thing. I point out that the only reason that those 5 areas are classical examples of mistreatment is that all 5 classes of people are unable to exert counter-control. The children are too small to do anything about the mistreatment. The old people are too weak. The prisoners are under armed guard. Psychotics and retardates, they can't escape. They can't counterattack at all. So why they're being mistreated, not because people lack compassion, but because there is no positive reason for treating them well. The aversive control, which keeps you treating me well and me treating you well, is lacking in a lopsided condition where no control is counter-control is possible. Now, if you want people to be treated well in these institutions, make sure that someone makes sure that mistreatment is not punished, is punished somehow or other. Now, you say, well, now you're going back on aversive control and recommending it. Well, I would recommend it as a first step, but counter-control isn't again the ultimate. If someone steps in and says, look, you're going to treat these kids well or you're going to be fired from this your job in the orphanage, then they may get more humane or compassionate treatment. But in the long run, what you want is not somebody who is afraid to mistreat, but someone who treats well because he understands what he's doing and knows how to treat well, and further knowledge of of human behavior is the answer to this, I think. Not more compassion, but some contingencies which induce people to treat people well, and then some knowledge that enables them to do it effectively.